start with the hanging lock with a pin. As you can see, it is closed. Let's take an ordinary screw, insert it into the well, and begin to tighten it smoothly with the screwdriver. It's not that hard. When the screw fits tightly inside, we take a crowbar and pry it, pull it, and pull the mechanism itself out of the lock together with the screw. The mechanism is outside, which means nothing will prevent us from opening the lock. To open an ordinary suspension lock, you will need 2 wrenches. Hook them on the shackle and start spreading on opposite directions. And here are some examples of how it works in real life. Even on the door, or even on a gate. And if the lock is too big, add an extra stop between the keys. A little more complicated, but the lock still tends itself. This method also works with combination lock. If the lock does not give in, try to change the position of the key so that the pressure is directed to the upper part of the shackle. He will definitely not resist this. And yes, this method will work with the padlock, although it takes much more effort than all previous locks. This method is universal, but after that, the lock will already be decommissioned. And here's another way to open such locks. To begin with, we'll fasten it. And now, we need a gas burner. Unscrew the gas to the full and then install the burner directly opposite of the lock. This method will take a decent amount of time, so it's better to fix the balloon in place. Gradually, the flame will burn all the paint and then begin to heat up the metal of which the lock consists. When the temperature becomes critical, the lock will gradually melt and crumble. It will only be necessary to help him a little with the wrench. That's it. The lock is open. And here is the metal that has fallen to the ground. It was aluminum or another fusible metal. However, with the steel lock, this trick is unlikely to work. Now, something more interesting. We have handcuffs next. Throw away the key and lock them on my wrist for the purity of the experiment. As you can see, everything is reliable. Now, we need a regular hairpin, or rather an en-bloc metal plate. Driving it into the groove, we will push the fastening off the handcuffs off of it and they will open. It's even easier to do it with a free hand. Overlapping the thread inside, the barrette does not allow the handcuffs to function normally. That's all. And next, we have a combination lock. And that's how it works. We'll pull a shackle 180 degrees, Click on it and make a random combination of numbers. After that, we pay attention to the shackle and close the lock. Rearrange the numbers and the lock is closed. To open it, first align the numbers and pull the lock. Lock it in this position. We check the reels. The drum moves freely, then the digit is not part of the code. And if it is tight, then you guess the number. Now, you need to find the right number for each reel. It may take some time. Until the castle finally opens, and most importantly, after that, the castle will remain intact. And now, we'll show you how to make a lockpick from an aluminum can. We will need such a small plate on which we make 2 shallow incisions, bend the sides, round off the central part with scissors. Now, let's close our test lock with the key. We drive our master key into the mechanism of the shutter of the shackle. You will need to make an effort, but the lock will open. If the lock has 2 locks, then we will need 2 lock pins. As you can see, combination lock has a similar shutter mechanism. So, let's check our lockpick on it too. As you can see, combination lock has a similar shutter mechanism, so let's check our lockpick on it too. It's a little more complicated because of the shape of the shackle, but this lock also lends itself. In addition, it retains its working capacity. Let's take a hammer and a single bolt lock. Let's hit the castle hard with the hammer. On the second attempt, it opens. And at the same time, maintains integrity. Let's try it again and again. Success! Let's check on the lock with 2 locks. Unfortunately, no matter how much we beat, the lock remains firmly closed. Take an ordinary paper clip and straighten one of its ends. Now, we will need pliers for fine work. We create this shape. We fold the second paper clip in this way and bend the loop. Here is such a master key we have turned out. Let's check it in practice. When the key enters the well, its thread lines up all the cylinders in a row and the lock opens. We will be able to achieve this with a little help of our tool. It's not as simple as it looks, but it works. Let's do it with the opaque lock. We had to work blindly, but we succeeded. As you can see, this is a very painstaking and time-consuming work. In order to do it faster, you will have to get the hang of it. But then, any lock will give in to you. Such master key can be made from a hair clip. She will work exactly on the same principle, not all inferior to her colleague. Let's take an inexpensive padlock and close it. From the side of the mechanism, we will gradually scrape off the top layer of zinc with the screwdriver. At some point, you will see the silhouettes of the cylinders on the body. Now, let's take a thin drill and start sawing the cylinders. After that, the mechanism will simply crumble. It remains only turn the weld with the screwdriver and the lock will open. Some locks can be opened with the kitchen knife. By inserting it at the right angle, you will easily push through all the cylinders. It remains only the crank and the lock will open. Of course, it is more difficult to do this blindly, but with proper skill, any lock will give in to you. With this method, the locks do not break, so you can continue to use them. Let's take a pin and cut off its head. We will push a pin into the well and try to find the cylinders. Then, we will put a screwdriver and try to turn it with effort. The lock is open. Let's try again and again with success. And now, we will show you how to copy keys with improvised tools. The key role in the key is played by its carving. Let's heat the key with the lighter. When it is covered with a dark layer, we will attach a sticky tape to it and remove this dark layer. The drawing was printed on the tape, and now we will transfer it to a plastic card. Using scissors, we will cut out the key according to the silhouette, paying special attention to the card. Now we have an extra copy. Let's check it out. The lock opens on the first attempt. Such a copy can be made from a jar, a bottle, and a battery, and also from 4 layers of paper or even 10 layers of ordinary tape. For copies made of soft materials, and of the rope to an ordinary ice cube. Now we put a pinches of salt on top and wait for the reaction, during which the ice melted a little. But not everything is so simple. If you pull the rope, you'll realize that the cube is frozen to the rope and very hard. No matter how you swing it, it won't fall off. And now, let's take a bigger cube and add salt that will need more than a couple of pinches. We will distribute it and attach an ordinary towel on top. We will firmly press it and turn it over so that the cube presses with its own weight. After about 2 minutes, the cube froze to the towel. And it can even be lifted into the air. Incredible reaction of ice with salt. We will need half a liter of water in a bottle. Let's leave it for about 4 hours and then put it in the freezer for another hour and a half. Carefully take it back out. Now strike one light blow and the water starts to freeze right in front of your eyes. Incredible, isn't it? Or you can hit the bottle on the table and get the same effect. And if you try to pour this water into a glass, it will begin to form an ice column. Carefully pour this water into a glass and then attach an ice cube to the surface. The water begins to gradually crystallize, and after a couple of seconds, the cube quietly stays on the solid surface. Tiny piece of ice is enough to trigger a freezing reaction in the whole glass. And just look how beautiful it is. By the way, you can pull off a similar trick with cola. But you need to freeze it for about 3 hours and 15 minutes. Open the lid by activating the gases. And then abruptly close it. And hit the bottle and the cola instantly turns into ice. Again, the trick with the lid. Then hit the table and instead of a drink, it's an ice block. Let's take an ordinary ice cube and hit it with the hammer. It instantly shatters into small pieces. And now an unusual cube. The first blow didn't hurt him. And the second, and the third. And fourth, it's like it's indestructible. What's its secret? It's synthetic insulation. Pour the water into the ice mold and put the insulation in there. We fill it to the top and fill it with water all the way till the end. We'll freeze it and take our cube out. It looks like an ordinary ice, but even a hammer can't handle it. It's amazing how much its properties have changed from a piece of insulation. Let's take a fruit juice and pour it into a plastic bag like this. Let's put the bag in a bigger bag and now surround it with ice. Evenly distribute it over the entire area of the packaging. It is important that the juice bag remains exactly in the center. And now add salt to the ice at a decent amount. Close the bag and distribute the salt inside so that it comes in contact with all the ice. Wrap it with the paper towel and leave it for 10 minutes. We take out a bag of juice, and what do we see? It seems we have a whole package of delicious fruit ice cream. In just a couple of minutes, you'll lick your fingers. Here we have 3 vessels with seemingly identical liquids. We gently lower a raw egg into each one of them, gently lowering them along the wall. And now let's add ice cubes here. In the first vessel, we have alcohol, egg, and ice drowned. In the second, there's fresh water. The ice has surface, and the eggs in the bottom. And in the third vessel, we have salt and water. There's ice and egg on the surface. Pour into a glass of water to the very edges and drop an ice cube into the water. The ice has melted, but the water doesn't seem to have been spilled. Then, we'll add another ice cube. It has melted, but the water's not overflowing yet, so immediately the third one. The third cube also did not allow the water to pour out, but unfortunately, the fourth place was not enough. And now we need water, soda, and vinegar. Mix soda and vinegar in the saucepan with the violent reaction. Let's leave them for about 3 hours. When the reaction is over and we got this mass, to which we will add more water. Turn on the gas and put the pan on the fire. Stir them over low heat until the liquid becomes almost transparent. Pour it into a glass vessel and leave it to cool down at room temperature. Pour a little of our liquid on the surface and it immediately begins to crystallize. We'll pick up a little powder from the walls on the pan with the wooden stick and dip it into ordinary water. Like snowflakes, they spread over the entire surface, as if freezing the water. Look at this pattern. The more points there are, the faster the reaction proceeds. Just look how beautiful it looks. Let's try to crumble our crystals. They look like ice, but they are hot. If we smoothly pour out our liquid, then it'll begin to form in such a column. The freezing is just instant. And if you lower a wooden stick into a vessel with this liquid, it instantly becomes covered with crystals, and then completely gets stuck in the solidified liquid. This time, the crystals seem to create a flower on a stick, but they continue to grow, filling the entire container. Let's lower a branch of a plant into the container. Having so many points of contact, crystals fill the entire vessel almost instantly. This process looks truly fascinating. I want to watch it again and again. And most importantly, every time it's an absolutely unique result. Just fascinating.